Hello, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink, and I'm here to give you instructions for my distance class. I have in your packet that was mailed to you, you have an envelope. You actually have 3 envelopes, and within each one of them is each of the projects. This first project, you're going to use Misty Moonlight cardstock, For Every Season Designer Series paper, and some Bumblebee cardstock, as well as some Whisper White cardstock. I'm using the layering squares, both of the largest straight-edged squares, and the stitched nested labels dies, and again, the 2 largest ones, one out of Bumblebee, the largest one, and the second down out of a piece of Whisper White. And those are already cut for you. You also should find in your packet a couple Bumblebee in color enamel dots, and I'm just going to set those aside. This piece of cardstock, the base, is a piece that's cut at 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and it is scored at 2 3/4 inches and 8 1/4 inches. I've already scored those for you. What you're going to do is line everything up, make sure it's nice and snug, and use your bone folder to make sure that this seam in the center comes together. So sometimes you need a little extra push there. This piece on the inside, I did not stamp anything on. It would be the perfect thing to put a greeting in. And I'm going to use our new Stampin' Seal, which is an adhesive Stampin' Up! Just came out with, and I really like it. You don't have to worry about checking it. You just go straight. And it gives you just a little bit of wiggle room until it cures. And once it cures, it's a nice, solid hold on the cardstock. So I'm going to center this in the middle. Okay. And these 2 pieces, you'll note that on the flower image, I cut that at an angle. And so I'm going to get out my paper trimmer for both of these squares. Move this out of the way. And you're going to line it up point to point on your paper trimmer. I didn't do this for you so that you kind of know how I did all of this. So point to point, then you cut it. You're going to get those 2 halves, and you're going to do the same thing on the large square of the Bumblebee. Put it in the track, point to point, and the track comes down, and you've got these 2 pieces, and then you can set this aside. Then you're going to want to take both of these, put some adhesive on them. Again, use whatever adhesive you have. And then these 2 will layer, so you should get a just slight edge all the way around here, and do the same thing on this other side. I'd received a swap using this layout a year ago, and just thought it was kind of unique. Okay, so I think I just did that backwards, so we have to go this way. So you're going to take your pieces, make sure they're going in the correct directions. I have a tendency sometimes to have them go the wrong way. You're going to take a straight edge, not the point, and center it on the left edge and on the right edge, right along that fold. And then repeat. Make sure you have enough adhesive to hold it. And if you have any questions, make sure to just email me at amy@justalittleink, And I'll be more than happy to share with you the answers. So then we have this piece. And what I did is I'm using for all of the images the Happiest of Birthdays stamp set. It's a brand new one out of the catalog. And all different images for birthdays. So I'm going to use the Happy Little Bit Late stamp. Certainly any stamp set you have, especially larger images, works perfect for this. And I'm going to use some Midnight Misty Moonlight. I think I called it Misty Muse. Misty Moonlight. They change our stamp colors so often. Sometimes I get them mixed up. So I'm going to stamp my image in the center of this. I'll clean it in a little while. Close my stamp pad. And then I'm going to put dimensionals on the back. And I've given you a pack of some of these mini dimensionals. Any size dimensionals would have worked. You just need a little something that'll help pop this up. So I'm going to put these on. So center your stamped image onto the bumblebee layer. So, and then you're going to attach directly to, but you don't want to go all the way across, otherwise you wouldn't be able to open your card. So you only want it attached on this end. So I kind of hold my finger there, come down, and just put a row or 2, 3 of some adhesive. Center your piece again, top to bottom, right to left. Lay it down. And when you push, then it opens and you get a nice fun fold. And then these 2 little enamel dots, they should have adhesive on the back side. And all I did was put one down here at this point and the other one in the opposite corner. I'll get them off my finger, that helps, huh? One up at this point. And that's all for this first card. I'm going to set it aside. Your second card is another fancy fold. I've got some images here we're going to talk through. I also, for this card, used the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set and matching or coordinating die set. All I'm using is this larger, or excuse me, the smallest sunflower image. And I'm also using from the Happiest of Birthday stamp set, the one that says, "It's your day, enjoy it." So I have a piece that is cut at 8.5 by 4 1/4, and I scored it, oh my goodness, I didn't tell you, I believe I scored it at 3 inches. So, and this is some Whisper White thick cardstock, so it has a good heft to it. And then I've cut again from the For Every Season Designer Series paper, a piece that is measured 4 inches by 2 3/4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of that Designer Series paper. I'm going to attach it at the lower edge, just giving an equal distance top, bottom, and sides. Then I have a 1/2 inch piece by 4 1/4 inches. That's going to come along the top edge. So it's going to come here. So you're just going to line up like so. And then I cut a piece of the bumblebee trim, and I am at a loss to tell you what it's even called, which is horrible. Pull it around from the back, and you're going to just catch it on this end. come around. And this seam's going to get covered up, so don't need to worry too much about it. Open it up. We're going to use the brand new Just Jade ink. And you want to make sure that you're high enough that your sunflower doesn't intrude on the front of this card. So a nice image here. Again, I'll clean that after a little bit. And then I gave you a scrap piece. Yours is, I think, rectangular. But I wanted to show you, you're going to use the Memento ink, Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Stamp your sunflower. You can color it first or you can color it second. It's kind of up to you. And then cut it out with the coordinating dies. If you don't have coordinating dies, you could cut it out freehand. And then I'm using the Stampin' Blends. And we don't have a Bumblebee Stampin' Blend, so the Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blends in the dark works really well. It's so close of an image that it's a good substitute for not having it, which is my guess as to why they did not give it to us. So I'm just going to quickly come in here, and you notice I got a little in the section I shouldn't have. That's going to get blended out when I use the green. So I'm going to go pretty quick here, just so we can get this done, and you don't have to wait forever for me to color. What I love with the blends is that you don't have to blend if you don't want. You can do a much more color book look, which is what I'm doing here. I'm only using one of the colors, or one of the tones, not both the dark and the light. You can keep adding if you want. Gives you depth of color. I'm going to put this one away. I'm going to grab the Just Jade in the light. And I'm going to go over, you notice that just blended that yellow right out. I'm going to come and color in my leaves. This way it coordinates with my Designer Series paper. This paper is all of the brand new 2020, 2022 in colors. And so the green is Just Jade. And you can add more depth if you want to keep going over it. And then I used the Cinnamon Cider. And I'm going to use actually the brush end on this one. And that's what I used for the center of my sunflower. You could use Soft Suede or one of the other colors if you don't have the Cinnamon Cider, but it's a nice color. And then once you've cut it out, you can put, again, some of the mini dimensionals on the back. And I cut mine to use every little bit of my dimensionals. So it's a great tip if you aren't doing it already. All these edges can be used. So I'm going to come and pull all the backing off. I think this one already had the backing off of it. Out of the way. And then this piece can get layered over, and it can hang over. Just want to make sure I don't have dimensionals hanging off. It comes over to hides that seam. And there you go. And I think I gave you, and I didn't pull any out for me, you have 3 rhinestones, some of the smaller rhinestones that you can kind of scatter across the front of your card. Again, you could stamp a greeting here or just write your image, and then you could decorate your envelope. The last card that I have for you, I'm going to pull out and we'll talk a little bit about all the parts and the pieces. Again, it's a piece of Whisper White thick cardstock. I I textured the front using the subtle folder through the die cutting machine. Stampin' Up's brand new die cutting machines, the Stampin' Emboss machines, will be available beginning September. They're available to demonstrators in August. And for this card, I am using some of this beautiful paper. It's called Whale of a Time Designer Series paper. And it coordinates so nicely with Pretty Peacock. And so this is a standard card, 5.5 by 4 1/4, scored in half. A 3 1/4 piece by 5.5 of the Pretty Peacock. A 3-inch piece, which means you get 2 from every sheet of the Designer Series paper, and then a 1/2-inch strip, 1/2 inch by 5.5 inches for on the inside. And then this is from the Stitch Shapes dies. It's a 2 7/16 inch circle. I'm not the largest, not the smallest. And then a 2 1/8 inch circle from the Layering Circles dies. And we're going to stamp on this one. And for this image, I thought we could use the Happy Bee Day. So I'm going to get out my Pretty Peacock ink. I'm going to stamp. Make sure I don't ink too deeply in there, and I'm going to just come in the center here, and voila. So then layer these two together using your adhesive. Layer it onto the pool party. That's what this other is. Layer these two pieces together. This goes together really quickly. Leave an edge on the right and the left, but it shouldn't go lining up at the top and at the bottom, and if not, you can trim to make sure that it goes. Looks like for me I've got just a little edge, so just use your scissors. Trim those up. On the front of your card, you're going to want to put your adhesive, center it, again, right to left. Make sure that it comes all the way up. Like so. Again, if you need to, you can trim here. Then I attached my whale, and all I did to cut my whale out, this is a piece of Designer Series paper. There are whales scattered all across it. Use your paper snips or any other fine pointed scissor and trim right along the edge. Just do a little fussy cutting. I already did mine ahead of time so you don't have to watch. And you're going to put a little bit of adhesive on the top edge of your whale. You want him kind of attached to the lower edge here. And I might need just a little bit of glue on the back of my tail. Just a little bit there. And then this piece gets, again, some dimensionals on the back side of him. So put a few dimensionals, scatter them around. And I like the minis because you can get them a lot closer to some things than other size. You can always snip the larger ones. And I sometimes will do that anyway, just to get little tiny pieces so I can get his tail pushed up. So then take your parts off, the backing off of the back. Okay. This we're going to put on the front. I want him looking like he's swimming in the ocean. Like so. On the front, I've given you some of the Pool Party holiday rhinestones. And you can either use your pick tool or you can just pull them off. And I found just kind of scattering them around, some up and some down. Kind of just gives a little bit of bling to the front of your card. And then on the inside, that's where this piece went. And so either side of the designer series paper, whether you like the seahorses or whether you want it to look like the water, and I just lined it up along the edge, kind of like so. Again, looks like I might need to trim just a little bit down here. Cut that off, and like so, and then it has room in here for you to put a greeting. And that is it. I hope that you've enjoyed this class in the mail with my distance class, and that you will choose to pay for the next one that I do. And there probably will be starting to be Christmas card ones. Thanks so much.